Sound check. Okay, cool. Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. We're a little bit shaken up this morning, but that's not going to rally us. We're going to just jump right in right from the beginning again. Good morning, everyone. New day. It's June 1st. New week, new month, fresh start. Welcome to Pitbull Traders Morning Game Plan. I'm your host, Manny. The purpose of this show is simple: real-time technical analysis, live futures trading, and actionable setups, all with the focus on building real trading skills and the mindset designed to drive consistent profitability. Every morning we come in with the same goal: to build out the structure before the open so that we're operating in alignment with the day's dominant forces, not guessing, not chasing. All right, let's build it out. Let's get aligned with the market. Let's see how we're going to trade this puppy today. Hope everyone had a nice weekend. I know I had a very productive weekend. All right, let's get in. We're going to do as we do every day. We're going to stick to the process. We're going to start off with the higher time frame. Okay, this has been the Artemis to the moon move that started on March 30th, and that was from the 63.53 low. Okay, and this move has been characterized by sideways consolidations followed by breakouts. Okay, so you can see them here. We're not going to go into it too much today as we're running low on time, but you can see here we had another sideways consolidation and breakout. Okay, so digging into the higher time frame, the only level that matters on this time frame for me and for you as well should be 75.50, which is where we could essentially put in a higher low and continue the trend higher. We're always on alert for the higher time frame to see when there's a structural shift, when there's a tone change, and that will signal to us, okay, maybe it's time to switch from buying dips to selling rips. Okay, and so for that we have two basic. The first level that matters is 7,500 to 7,550. Okay, which is the high of the previous consolidation band. You can see that marked off here on the chart. Okay, that's coming in right here. This is 7,550. We want to see that's a good logical area for price to come down, pull in, and it looks like we're going to be testing that at some point today. Okay, the next level that matters on this chart would be the previous low, 7,500. So we have a 50-point band, 7,550 to 7,500. If we get below 7,500, that would signal a structural shift. We would be below moving averages, and we would now have stopped the one-time framing higher, stop the succession of higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so let's keep those areas in mind. Let's build those out, keep them in our narrative. All right. Since we're running a little bit late on time, I see prices moving out really rapid here down to the low side. I'm not sure if there was news drop that I was trying to get ready for it to come on this morning, but we'll scan for news. Let's just stick to the process, okay? All right, guys, we're going to do as we do every day. We're going to map out the most bullish argument. We're going to map out the most bearish argument. And then we're going to talk about our favorites, right? The bullish trap trade and the bearish trap trade. And to do that, we're going to use our two chart formation. We're building them out on a 15-minute time frame. And what we're going to do here is just talk about the most bullish iteration, okay? So if we're opening here, 75.77, it's complicated to do this when the market is moving at this speed. So just say that we come down here, we breach below yesterday's low. Okay, yesterday's low, 75.77 half. We've already went below it by 2 ticks. If we get a look below and fail, our first step is to look for a higher low, right? So what we want to see is, does price look below, come back up, consolidate, and then put in a higher low? If that higher low forms and we breach the most recent local high, at that point we're signaling, okay, this was another trap trade, and that would be very, very bullish. We would be looking for long trades and entries with our risk marker being below that local low, wherever it forms. And then our first point of reference would be 75.85, right? Because that was the previous low that was put in before this move started lower. Okay, so if we look below, if we're looking at this closely, we could even go below 75.72, and I believe that's a setup on the market blueprint this morning. All right, so if we get that move, if we already two-ticked it, if we start to put in higher lows and consolidate, then we're looking for long ideas, and we're taking our scales along the way, with our first target being that 75.85 structural reference, and then maybe we get a move up to the settlement, which yet Friday's settlement came in at 75.95. All right, so that's the most bullish iteration, which also it covers the bearish trap trade. Okay, because the bearish trap trade is the same concept, right? Where we look below a previous low, a structural reference such as Friday's low, and we also have the 75.85. This is quite the band here, right? Although it's about 7 points, we could get there is a support band in here. All right, so let's say that covers the most bullish iteration. I don't think that we're going to have to cover the bearish trap trade. Here's the opening bell. Let's just get right back in. Let's cover the most bullish, the bearish look. The bearish look is if we just breach below. If we get below yesterday's low, all right, if we get below yesterday's low, you can see the 75.85 just held slightly. All right, if we get below yesterday's low and this 85 starts to hold as resistance, we're looking for short trades that get down back to 75.50, which was our higher time reference. The market is expanding here. Let's jump right in. That covers the most bullish iteration. This is the most bearish one. Due to some technical difficulties, we're just going to have to set the analysis aside and jump right into the live market. So watch this area right here very, very closely. We're looking for a failed breakdown. We're looking for a failed auction into this area. All right. Yep, I think that covers it. Let me just get in our opening print and our overnight low. I think we already took out the overnight low, so that's off the table. Okay, the overnight low is coming in at 75.77. All right. And the opening print. Man, I'm not happy about it. I was all set this morning. Kids are out of school, and I was ready to jump on here early, and then I had a big technical snafu where I had to shut down my PC and reboot it. I had a BIOS update this weekend, and I took care of that over the weekend. I thought I was good to go. But you know what? We stay flexible. We stay we don't let the market panic us. We don't let the technical glitches panic us. Stick to a level-headed approach, as we need that for trading. We need our edge. And our edge sits between our ears, right? All right. Let's get this framed out. All right, team, let me know what you got going on out there. I'm going to now look, we just did the look below and fail of the overnight low. All right. Let's get into a NVIDIA is still really strong. Thanks, Dave Murrow. Yep, NVIDIA is blasting off. It's already up 4%. I don't know how much, using, like, NVIDIA used to be really, really locked in. I don't know how much it's locked into the broader market. I've seen quite a bit of divergences, but oil is spiking here, guys. Oil's up 5%. Hey, heads up too on the VIX. The VIX is up another 6%. So today's an S4 day. Expectations on an S4 day are for volatility expansion. We should see some very decent moves today. Be careful in here. I'm still getting my bearings here. Gosh, I had everything set up ready to go, and then I couldn't get the audio to work. But it's all right. We're here now. We're live. Watch this move here. We're testing that 75.85, which was our prior overnight low just before this late dip, before this liquidation break that we're seeing, okay? So reclaiming there would signal that the market is going to test higher into the overnight range. All right. It muddies things quite a bit for us because we had that strong liquidation break. We came right down to that structural, right down to what is that? That's last night's low, 75.71. Nope, that's Thursday night's low. Market seems to be really volatile, and I think that, you know, I wrote a piece for the opening print. I suggest you go check that out on Mr. Top Step, and you can get my broader market perspective thoughts on that on there. But I think we're going to see volatility expansion could give us the sign that something bigger is at play here. The market's been really quiet, and there's been a lack of participation on the upside by larger dominant forces. So just be careful of that. And we're getting that VIX spike today. So, you know, I frequently have seen S4 days turn into big market movers. All right, got a fill there on that one. So happy about that. Let me see if I can get this, the rest of my. Good morning. Hey, what's up, Frank? Good morning. How are you, bud? Thanks for checking in. We're all over this thing, all right? So let me just make sure we get the levels on. Market blueprint. Whenever you see this is so, guys, this is a perfect example, right, of why having a trade plan is so important. And I know I'm banging the drum on that again, but you know, I don't know, maybe it's overdone, but like, so in times like this, right, where I had a technical glitch before the open, and the system crashed on me, right? I couldn't get my mic working for the stream. And now it kind of threw me off I was completely dialed into the market before that, right? Before I started preparing, I had a great overnight trade. But now, since that kind of threw my footing off, right? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to my trade plan, right? So I'm going to pull up my market blueprint trade plan, and I'm going to look at where I'm at, what is a valid trade for me, because I understand that this plan was curated and created during a time of non-volatility where I was able to analyze the market and not have to keep one eye on price action. And so that's another benefit of having some sort of idea of what you want to do with the day. Again, it doesn't have to be set in stone. Typically for me, I'm trading my trade plan in the first half of the day, and then in the back half, I have a better read on price action. I have new information, right? Market generated information is a lot more to go on. And those afternoon trades tend to be a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more real-time reads, but the market blueprint is really what gets me through the morning. 75.59, 75.94. All right, so I've got supports down at 75.99, which we blasted through. Then below there, 75.59. No, sorry, 75.94. 75.59, 75.94, 75.99. Those are my areas today. Continuation long above 76.09. All right, so let's see what happens here at the 75.94 area. Do they convert this or does this start? And another thing about the trade plan team is that so use this accordingly, right? If you see a level on here like 75.94, that's the level I'm locked in on right now, okay? And say that, we're trading below it. Well, then it becomes resistance. We're not, we're obviously what we're looking for is for that to be a support when we're trading back down into it. But currently we're trading up into it and we're below it and we're testing it from below. So that certainly turns into a resistance area until it gets converted back to support. Yep. Agreed, J Mark. I think that's a level I have cited here. I'm locked in on that for sure. I would expect that to be converted at some point, but I don't know. Internals are positive. It's still early. Oil is just going straight up. It's a resistance until it's not. We have to read it. Read the price action. It's 75.94 is resistance until it's not. But yeah. The overnight inventory came in, yes, just neutral. There's no no real edge there to be read into because that late liquidation break kind of took the net long inventory argument off the table. Might try it here on the short side, but I'm still a little too early. It is showing an inability to get above there though. Call it bias or whatever, but I just don't like to start Monday, my first trade being a short, but that's what the market's telling me. I'll just close my eyes and take it, hold my breath, hold my nose. All right, another quick read on the internals. The internals are just slightly positive, right? Nothing big to read there. Nothing big to read there. Nope, here we go, back up again, nudging our way up again to test it. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, let's see if they turn it. I mean, we're only about 12 minutes into the day, right? But I would agree with J Mark. The oil popped back to highs. All right, so I mean that's I wonder if the long crude short ES trade is back in effect. I don't know. We'll see. I guess we're going to find out. But you can see now that while 75.94 is acting as resistance here, we're back into that overnight range, right? So we looked below it. Pull up that chart. You can get a better look at it. You see? So here we look below that area, and now we're right back above it. The settlement is right at 75.95, 75. So that's a true gap fill if we get there. Looks like it looks like that's going to be tagged at some point here. They're coming back in on it. You see, we're back into that range. So that range, as we let's just highlight it, okay? Okay, so the overnight range was here. This is our overnight range. Basically, Sunday night was all contained here. just before the liquidation break. We came back, we came below, tested below, and now we're back right back in the range. So tough read. It's not an easy read. Let's just I'm standing aside right now until the picture clears up a little bit. Again, it's an early week. It's an early start. I have a hard time believing that we don't at least tag that settlement. But remember, team, we're also back in value area, right? Friday's value area low came in at 75.89 quarter, right? And we're back above now, testing within value, and we're starting prices trying to demonstrate some acceptance. Again, it's super early. It's very early here. Let's see if they can gain acceptance. I mean, they have to prove it. It hasn't proved anything yet, right? It's just all it's doing is it's testing value. If this is the rejection from value, then we're going to go lower. Jay Morok says going to wait until that 945 number. Yep, that's smart, right? Because then you could just get knocked out of whatever you're in, and that's frustrating. But that 94 is still acting as resistance here. Not an easy read by any stretch. Let's see what happens at the settlement. 75, 95, 75, or if we even get there. Price is kind of stalling out here, to be honest. So that area is still acting as resistance. I would expect that it gets converted, though. I don't know. Hard to say still. Remember, we'll stick to the chart. We're back in value. We're back in range. Okay, let's see if we get rejected or if we find acceptance. It is now 9:46, so we'll wait for this bar to close, and then we'll have a better read. $75.95 is our current high. And if we're looking at the order flow, there wasn't too much interest up there, to be honest. Nine contracts came off at the high, right? And then at 95, 75, 94, 75, 94.50, there was some interest, but none then at quarter. So it's just yep, there they go. They're coming back in on them. All right, should pop here. Yep, here we go. It should be moving higher here. All right, let's watch for the test of the settlement and see what happens there. If you're long, then your target is value area high at 76.03. Remember that the typical rule of thumb on value areas is once price leaves the prior day's value area and then tests right back into it, the tendency is for price to test the opposite end of that value area. But this is not like we got the strong bounce off the low, but it just I think it's kind of negotiating, trying to get above the settlement, trying to get above yesterday's volume point of control. We should move higher though. Do we get start of month new month money? Yeah, that's another thing. So Jay Morok points out, going to wait until after, okay, start. It says, do we get start of month money? So what that is what he's talking about is typically what we see is at the start of a new month, we typically see, all the hedge funds, all the 401k plans, all the larger institutional funds will will get new money that they have to put to work. And typically what that money goes into, different retirement plans and so forth. And there's a big tranche of new money that comes in at the beginning of the month. And so the tendency is to see prices rally based off of that influx of money. You can see though that price is definitely not demonstrating like a strong move here, right? It's definitely it went up to the settlement, it tested the settlement. Now we know, right? The rule of thumb, the nuance is that when price tests the settlement, there's usually a move away from the settlement. So if it's testing it from above, there's usually a bounce. If it's testing it from below, it usually retraces a bit, right? And so that's typically what you see at the settlement. Now we gauge that reaction to see. Now we just tested settlement 95.75. We traded down to 75.90. So a 5-point fade. That's about normal. You're going to typically see a move off the settlement 2 to 4 points. We moved 5 points. We also have. It's also backed up by we know that this is a level, an inflection point. So now we gauge to see what the next move is. So that fade, if it was really bearish for the time being, then what we would see is a move lower, right? We would see a stronger move lower. That didn't happen. We're back to testing the settlement again.
First pullback, take trade.
But the bulls are definitely struggling here a little bit. At least that's what it seems. Watch that 76.05 to 76.07 area, right? 7600 to 76.05. Yeah, they're struggling here. You can see we're wicking. Every time we come up here, we're wicking. Wow, look at that. I think there was like a little sell program there or something. Oil keeps going. Yep. That's the problem here. You're right. Yeah, that's a good call, a good read there. It looks like ES wants to go higher, but oil won't let it. It looks like it wants higher. I see the volume coming in. It's not like this is not super. It's a muddy read right now. I'm just. You can see I haven't done anything yet. I'm just going to continue to watch it. Yeah, I can't long it in here because we haven't converted the area, and I'm not convinced on the short just yet. See, even that small sell program, just like it pushed the price down and then it immediately bounced. So, I mean, you know, there's not a lot. There's choppy. Be careful. I think if I do take the short, it'd probably be in micros. I don't know. I don't know. I like to start the week. I don't like to start the week off in micros. I like to finish it in micros, but we'll see. See what happens here. This thing looks like it wanted to break, guys. Thing looks like it wants to break. We're gonna lay out a few micros here at, I don't know, 89. I'm short some micros at 80, 75, 89. I've only got 4, 6 now. Can always add to them if it starts working. It gives me a way of participating in the break. Because the 75.94s, we got the fade off the settlement. So here's the real-time read, team. We initially came up, we tested the settlement as at 95.75. We faded 5 points. Then we went right back up, we tested the settlement again, but we only got, what, a few ticks above it. And then now it's right back down to, and now when we faded from the settlement, 75.95, we faded to 75.90. But now we just went 75.86. So still a little bit choppy, but that's my read on it. I'm not going to stick around in these very long. Not if I don't have to. Pull up the 5-minute. Reverie says, I've done a lot of yakking about crude. Nothing has changed. Brent, front month expiry in a backwardated market does this every time. All right. What does this mean, Rev? When you say it does this every time, what is that, rally? Because it's rallying? Selling the front month and buying the forward month leads to synthetic sell-offs into expiry, and then a rip on the first day of the new front month. Ah, okay, got it. Okay. Yep, that makes sense. All right. I added a few more of those micros here. Hoping for a break. Liquidation break. The Russell's on its lows. Crude is on its highs. Nasdaq is coming off. All right, getting a little bit of a break here. Getting a little bit of a break. I'm 79 bid. Oh, wait, that's not right. This thing is jumpy. I don't know what's going on. Let me get my news feed up. ISM. Thanks, Jay. Getting a move lower here. Getting some follow through on the micro short. ISM slightly better. ISM coming in slightly better. It looks like crude is just breaking out again. And Russell, new lows. But yeah, but no follow through on ES. And NASDAQ is on its low, but ES is back up. It's weird. NASDAQ is bouncing. ES is the strongest of the ES is definitely holding bid a lot stronger than the rest. Looks like it's starting to move a little bit lower. NASDAQ is now back to testing those lows. ES is holding up the fight. Let's see, what do we have around the horn? All right, so the VIX is moving higher again. We're gonna check out the weighted AD too. See what's the read there. Where is that? Yeah, the weighted AD, which is the read from the open, they're divergent, right? So AD is positive with the weighted AD being negative. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sectors red, 4, 2, 4, 5 green. So that's a mixed bag. Mixed bag there. We got our weighted AD that's confirming the move lower. I'm just holding on to these. You know, I have a few micro short. ISM came in slightly better than expected, and you know, it's just been nothing but downside since. Nothing but downside since. All right, let's see what the SPYGATE is doing for us. SPYGATE did not have SPYGATE going. Hang on a second. All right, it looks like SPYGATE just hit a sell program. Yeah, it's been more selling than buying, that's for sure. Here's a read on SPYGATE from the morning. You can see this, right? Again, if you get this SPYGATE, if you get up an evaluation account from Pitbull Traders, you get SPYGATE included. And what this does is it's our institutional trade tracker, right? So it lets us know when the institutions are trading, right? These are large batch program sells. You can see them here. It's, you know, a typical SPYGATE program is going to be for, you know, $200 million. You can see here that sell, 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 but a lot of these have been countered, right? This is the choppiness that we're seeing. Sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, sell. So this is what you're seeing here later. Further in the chart is hints to what we're seeing in the price action, right? So we've seen price dip, and you can see the sell programs are in alignment with that. Great tool to have. Highly suggest go to pitbulltraders.com. Team, we just revamped our website. Super proud of the work we've done there. Go check it out and click on the Traders Edge tab to gain more insight into the tools that we are using every day. Again, we're a different kind of prop firm. Go check it out. You can see the story built out there. We're more about consistent profitability. We're not a prop firm that's built on resets and promo codes. Slightly different. We'll trade alongside you. We'll help you get funded. We'll help you stay funded, and we'll help you get to the payout. Our model is built on the back end. We want the 20% split once you're consistently profitable. Which is the way that most prop firms were designed initially, right? Prop firms were built to share. When prop firms initially started, they were designed for profit sharing, right? So the trader gets 80%, the house gets 20, and then they kind of switched with, you know, when the advent of all these promo codes came out, was when you started to see the business model shift more towards resets. They want people to gamble a lot, and they want them to reset a lot so that they can earn those fees. If you think that's why none of them, very few of them actually trade alongside you or give you tools to trade. Some of them do though. But I think our tools are the best. All right, coming right back up again. This is just what do you think? Is this the calm before the break? Easy money community is by far the best. Yeah, thanks, CB, appreciate it. Yeah, so you know, being aligned with. So when I was starting out, I wanted to be aligned with Tony Robbins says it. The best way to become successful is to find someone who's already doing it and emulate them, right? And that's kind of what I wanted to do. And to do that, you know, you want to get. I just closed out that that short trade team. I'll jump right back in. I think it was like a 3-point loss. I don't want to. It's chopping around and it's not breaking. All right, just a heads up on that. It's chopping around and it's not breaking. I can always get back in, but I don't want to get squeezed out. I hope that makes sense. I don't want to be a part of the short squeeze. I can always get back in, but I mean, how many attempts I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah. So how many attempts didn't we attempted so many different times to go lower and we couldn't. Remember, we're in an uptrend. Okay. And I took a loss on that trade. 4 or 5, 3 points, I think. I'm not sure. Let's see. It was a nominal loss, maybe 2 to 4 points. I just clicked close. So, and the reason why is we've had so many different attempts to move lower, right? Look at all these stabs lower, right? And the price was unable. And I've been around this enough, mind you. Remember, we're in an uptrend. Okay, that's the first rule. We know that because we looked at it on a higher time frame analysis at the start of the day. Okay, and then we gave this. It came up, it tested the settlement, and it moved lower. It may move lower, and I'll get back in if that's the case. But how many times did we try to go lower and it just couldn't? It just chopping around. I don't want to get squeezed. I'd rather just get back in. Yeah, it looks like, oh man, looks like I jumped the gun there though, huh? It's all right. I had 75.89 before. 75.89. Let me just make sure. I think I'm going to pivot out of those micros. Also, here's another heads up. Like if you're following the market blueprint and if you're following the trade plan, right? We're looking at a certain window, right? We're closer into that window. That kind of makes a little bit more sense. So if I short it, if I have to get back in, I pay a couple more points. It won't matter. Like if I had 75.89, say I get in at 75.85, it won't matter if it breaks to 75.65. I won't care about those 4 points. But what I do care is not getting caught in that squeeze, that in that move that it comes and breaks higher, and that volume came in, very thrusty, right? But now look, another real-time read. What do we have here? We have a low high, and now we have a lower high. So watch this. I think this high becomes important. I want to see that high hold. Yeah. So maybe I get back in. No harm, no foul. Better be out and wish you were in than to be in and wishing you were out. That old adage. All right? Yeah, so CB mentioned that this community is the best by far. And if you guys are joining us on socials, my name is Manny. I'm from Pitbull Traders. If you're just joining us, we're tracking the ES. I put out the market blueprint trade plan. We're monitoring the 75.94 level from that trade plan. We're also using the execution clock, which helps us time our entries into our trades. And we also have our private community. If you click the link in the description below, you'll find the pit link. You can join our private community. One of our members, CB, just said, this is the best community by far. I'm sure there are other great communities out there, but this community is a little bit different just with the amount of experience that's in the community, with the amount of resources that are in the community. And it's just, a bunch of traders helping traders. Danny Riley, who's our CEO, has often had, when he built Mr. Top Step, back in 2009, The idea was to have traders helping traders, and that is now carried over into pit bull traders, into the prop firm business. Okay, and what we have is a great community of traders who are sharing charts, sharing ideas, sharing setups, sharing the tools that they use, and we're all just trying to help each other make money. All right, I've been a part of this community since 2012. With a small hiatus break in 2016 when I took some time off and then came back. But our community is really, really, really where I think our strong suit. If you want to get around, if you like, so I have a goal of making X amount of dollars, right? I want to be around other traders that have done it before, right? So if you want to make $250,000, then find someone who's done it before and emulate them. If you want to make $1,000, then find someone who's done it before and emulate them. Most traders, as I'm pretty sure, most traders commit a really an error in sitting there and trading by themselves. And guys, that's really dangerous. No coworkers, no managers, no coach, no accountability. When things are going well, you think you're a genius, but you don't know what you did right. And when things are going badly, then you don't know what you did wrong, and you probably think that you're the only one struggling, and you're not. A strong community helps normalize those two things. And you need more perspective, right? I have traders that I coach, and I also have traders that I pick up the phone and talk to when I need more perspective. And there's no there's no indicator, no video, no YouTube video, no trading strategy that's going to help with the human element of trading, right? That's what you need a coach for. That's what you need a trader. That's what you need accountability for. That's what you need community for. I mean, CB and I just chatted on Friday about just the tactical ins and outs of trading. That's the important part. Community is really, really important, team. And that's one of the things that I think are lacking in the common, like, YouTube. Yeah, look at it, popped again. This is why I have not done anything. I'm sitting on hands here, team. I don't want to get squeezed by this. I don't want to get squeezed. I mean, let's see. Look, we have a buying tail, and now we're back to testing the highs. This is very choppy. Hey, you know what? We have to start considering that this is just going to be a small range day. We have to start considering that. All right. Stay alert, but that's certainly a possibility. We've been open now, what? 45 minutes, and we have a 20-point range. Maybe we get some volatility expansion later on in the day, but the VIX is now breaking down to lows. Oil is pulling off its highs. NASDAQ is basing inside of its overnight range. So that's the real-time read. Let's start thinking, all right, less directional bets. Let's start thinking, let's just see if this can break this high here, right? The 75.94 to 75.98 band is still acting as resistance. Until we can get above it and then test it from above, it's going to be resistance. All right, dang, you know what? I should have. So if I wanted to take a shot at the short trade, that was it right there. Maybe I can get a little pull up, because then that puts me right by my exit. But it doesn't, and I mean, for a scalp trade, this is not a directional bet. Yeah, no, I missed the I missed the light. I missed the entry. But anyway, back to my conversation about about community. I mean, guys, community is super important. Super important. I'm sure you guys understand the concept there. All right, breaking down again. Look at that. Unable to get over 75.94. Don't chase it here. Just let it play out. Let it play out. It's very choppy, and I don't think directional bets are working right now. It looks like what they're doing is the market makers are keeping. Here's the thing. Let's check SPYGATE. Let's use that tool. Look, and that's kind of the same story here, right? Look at this read, guys. Look at this read, team, right? Buy, sell, 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 sell. They're suppressing volatility right there. They want price to stay within a range. The game is keep price in check. We'll see if it breaks out, if there's some forcing action, but until there's not, that's the read. You can see it's like a battle of the algos. I'm sidelined here. I haven't done anything since I took off those micros short. A lot of, one of the things, back to the community conversation, is that, I think that while, a lot of people enjoy watching YouTubers stream, and I think that there's some value to that. However, if it helps you with your own trading, then you should double down on it and do more of it, right? If it doesn't, then maybe you should rethink it, because one of the things that I'm going to point out is that this is why I hand out my personal phone number in our community, so that if people need to talk or need to chat, they can call me. And the reason for that is because, if you're watching a streamer, it's just a one-way communication. Like, so you're seeing what they're doing, but that doesn't help you with what's your personal challenge. For that, you need a little bit more personalized, a little bit more personalized touch. You need someone that understands you. You need to talk to someone, and that's what these communities are built for. They're not built. It's not a signal service. The true power in having a community is like the discipline issues, the mindset issues, things like that. That's really where a community shines through. Yep, here we go. We're moving back higher again. NQ is strong. Yep. Oil's chopping around, but this thing is just look, we reclaimed the overnight low, reclaimed yesterday's low, and I think that's the biggest point here. We dipped below yesterday's low by a few ticks, and if we are going to see a liquidation break, and I think that the probability for a late day liquidation break is still on the table, these bears right here looking for this, looking for. Let me just redraw that. So bears looking for this right now, looking for this move lower. I think those guys are. I think these shorts right here are going to get liquidated. And I think that the move, if the move lower happens, here's my opinion on how it happens. We'll see if I'm right. Okay, I'm gonna give the chart some space. But if it does happen, I think we go like this. We're gonna come back. We're gonna break up. And then we break down later today. Yeah, let me redraw that and get a screenshot of it. See if it plays out. But I think we trade up. Again, I'll look at the levels later. But we trade up, make a higher high, fail, and this high fails, gets tested, it bounces, and then we break. And that break on an S4 day takes out this low. All right. So if this does happen, if this materializes, I would be looking for new lows. That's the volatility expansion. The other argument is this. Let me just get a screenshot of it so I can remember what I said. I'm not chopping. I'm not going to get chopped up in this range right here. Screw that. I'm not doing that. Let the market prove it. I would trade this. I trade along here this way with an entry around here somewhere. That I'd trade. I'm not doing anything inside this box. Nothing for me in here. All right. So yeah. So if we do get the break, this can offer a nice scalp, right? Let me just this, right? Where we come back and we test into this band, we can then look for an entry in here somewhere or in here and then scalp it on the way back up, but be out of most of it before you get here. All right, the other option is that maybe we do break down. See, we did that marginal high. Okay, so maybe say we break down here, then now I needed to prove it below here, right? And then I'm getting in short on this bounce in here for the move down. Maybe that. Okay, those are the two expansion ideas. But what if we just continue in this range to go like this? Right? And then you're placing your entries in the middle, in here, in here, in here, in here, and you're looking for this move lower, and then each time instead of it moving lower, this happens. Then you get chopped up, and you've taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stops. Price hasn't gone anywhere. All right, that's what I'm looking to avoid. Let it prove it. Let it break. Another good part of community, that community, I was just hit with this DM, right? One of our members DM'd me and said, community creates accountability. And I couldn't agree with you more. It helps you with revenge trading. It helps you with oversizing your trades. Not too long ago, I was in this trade and I blew out my funded account, and I was talking to a buddy of mine. He was like, Manny, why did you trade it so big? And just hearing it from him helped me understand, hey, that was my real error right there. It wasn't that a trade didn't work. It was just that I sized it too big. And he helped me identify that. When you're surrounded with traders who know, your process, that you have a process, they can help you find what can help you. Here we go, chopping back and forth again. I hope this helps you guys stay, stay in a calm mindset, right? Stay in a calm, kind of eased, relaxed mentality with all of this. Remember that we're trading futures, right? So we have to have like a mindset of abundance, that there's always going to be an opportunity to make money if we just wait for the situation to present. Wait for the easy trade, wait for the easy money. Let me know if you guys have traded it. If I'm missing something, bring it up. Let me know. What am I missing here? I don't see it. There was a time in my trading when I would have probably had, I would have probably had 5 or 6 trades within this area. Oh, heads up. Sorry, we'll just sidebar that right now. So here's an interesting read, right? So this moving average we need to keep an eye on this moving average. We want to see them curl and move up soon. Let me just clear out some of this mess I have here. Right, so where they start to like come down and curve up, because if not, then what's happening, right? Then they're just acting as resistance. All right, let me just clear those out. But you can see how they're acting. They're starting to form resistance here. And we have the clock telling us one thing, right? Just very, very choppy here. Very, very choppy. Let's see. I think we see a liquidation break later today. Not now, though. Not from here. But that's my opinion. I could be wrong. So heads up. So our initial balance is what they call is the range of price action within the first 30 minutes of the day. Okay, our initial balance, that range we formed in the first 30 minutes of the day has not yet been broken. Okay, so that's our early high at 75, 96, 75, and the low of that balance is 75, 76 quarter. That's what we call the initial balance, and we use a 30-minute time frame to give us an idea of what the range is for that time period. That range has been 20 points. And that range has not been broken yet. That signals to us that this is chop, that the market is happy, has found an equilibrium, and is content trading within that range. There is no forcing action. There's no new money. There are no active sellers. There are few active sellers, few active buyers. Now there are people taking positions in here, and I would expect that we break at some point. But let's just be careful. Let's understand the real-time read. Let's understand what we're looking at here. This is when, when indicators and our tools can most have the highest probability of tricking us, of giving us false reads, I should say. Because price is just telling us it's not really going anywhere. But our indicators, don't understand that. They're just mathematical formulas. This is where experience and context come really into play, and also that discipline to lay off, to understand the read, to understand that the market is not really offering much right now, and to just stand aside. Testing lower, we're coming down into that B period low. Very choppy. Well, we're getting some movement here. What do you guys think? Is this break, or are we going to return right back into range? It looks like, oh man, they just hit 75.82 pretty hard. There's a battle going on at 75.82. There's an iceberg sitting here. They traded 985 contracts, hit the bid at 82, and then they absorbed them all. And look, now they came right back into it. Now they're trading again. So if they break here, we could see a move lower for a few points. Let's watch it. Look, there's somebody sitting on those 75.82s again. They hit them 226 times, and they absorbed them all. I would expect that once that buyer there, once that iceberg runs out, if they keep hitting him, eventually he's going to break, right? At least that's the idea. But that's about, there was a negative 767 delta on that 75.82. They hit it close to 1,200 times and they just absorbed it. 900 on the first, and then close to 300 on the second. So price was coming down. Sellers were hitting it, market sell, over 1,100 times, and they were all absorbed. They couldn't break through. Now we're gliding back higher. Let's see if they come back in on them again. It's going to be a good tell here. All right, now they're breaking. Back below them again. Yep, moving higher. Let's see. Definitely choppy in there. I'm scalping them. 83 quarter on just a small scalp off the order flow read. Small scalp off the order flow read. I got 83s. I'm not looking for much. I'm just scalping off the order flow. 83s I'm looking for. I had 83 quarter on the first. I'm looking for 88 quarter, 88s for 5 points. Just scalping the edges. See if we test the upper portion of the band, but I'm a little bit late in my window. I don't want to be holding on to longs too. I don't want to be holding on to longs very long. It's a tongue twister. I don't want to hold on to longs for very long in here, just because I know I'm aware of the clock. I'm aware of what happens with what the expectations are into this time frame. You can see we came up, we tested that volume point of control, and then we glided right back down. NQ still strong. Yeah, for sure. And on RTY is weak. Look at the 10-year spiking. The VIX is now making lower lows and lower highs. So heads up. If that's a tell, if the VIX gets below its low, we're going to break out. I peeled one off there for about 3 points. Again, I'm just, I'm just taking what it offers, right? I don't want to, if I get a point, I get a point. It's based off the order flow read I shared with you guys. Now my stops at break even. I made 3 points on 2. Let's see if we can extend this out and get lucky. I'm willing to take a break even. But if we get up to, what's my fill here? My fill is 82.75. A home run would be 92.75. Again, I'll close it though if it looks weird. If it starts to get wonky on me. Just give it a nice close. Ah. I don't want to be long. I don't want to be long against a time pivot. Which gives me an idea. Let's see if that would work out. 11. Coming into that 11 o'clock time frame. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take a graceful exit on this one contract for about a 0.75. Yeah, just close it out. Long against a time-based pivot is not good. Okay, we just got a buy program just went off. Just give it a few. All right, I'm out. I just took the point there. So I got 3 I got 3 points on 2. 1 point on the last. Not all I wanted, but whatever. Sorry about that. Hang tight, team. Hang tight. I'm back, guys. Still just chopping around here. Today's the day for scalpers. Yep, those 82s continue to hold. You just heard of Crow, the Cell program. There's just not really much going on here. It's tough tape to read. I can't wait till volatility expands. But this goes into what I was saying this morning about the sideways move. I don't think we're going to see any type of vol expansion. I mean, maybe, but we're still stuck in a 20-point range. We're still inside the initial balance. Be careful down here. If you're short, scalping against those 82s. I'm not sure I want to take that again. I'm not sure I want to take those twice. Yep, scalp it. 86.50. Looking for 86 quarter for the scalp. OCO. Not expecting much here. I'll take a quick out if it fades on me, just because I'm against the clock. Bears have the clock for another hour. Couldn't wait for the look below and fail. I just don't know if we're going to get the range expansion. I'll go over that look below and fail in just a sec. Oh man, I deleted that. They came back in on the 82s. They're gonna break them this time. Let's see. I'm watching these 82s like a hawk. Oh, they got through them. I'm toast. I think this trade is cooked, guys. Yep. Yep. Let me just see what the time. Yeah, we're bleeding out. This thing's bleeding out. Looks like I'm cooked on this one. Oh no, maybe there's some hope. Maybe there's some hope. Yes, you're very consistent with live streaming. Keep it up, bro. Appreciate your dedication. By the way, do you think crypto is the right asset to start trading with? Yash, thanks for the compliment, Ash. Yash, I really appreciate it. So I think that it depends on which crypto, Yash. So I think that to start trading, what you should do is focus on if you can find a crypto that doesn't move very erratically. Something that's a little bit smoother in its moves and doesn't have very many spikes to it, then that's your crypto. And that goes for any futures too, or any instrument, right? If you're just starting out, find something that moves in a little bit more of that. Maybe the term is boring, but something that moves a little bit slower, that's a little bit more predictable. The tendency is to want to go towards something that has the excitement to it. Like, just for an example, trading ES versus NQ. NQ tends to have a little bit more spice to it. It moves a little quicker. It can sweep a lot faster. That makes it exciting on when you're profitable, but it also conversely also makes it a little bit harder to learn on, because the moves there can be, they can be unexplainable, and you can be there trying to learn and figure it out, and it just doesn't make any sense, even to someone who's been trading for 20 years. Okay. Hey guys, looks like I'm getting out of some trouble on this scalp trade. So looking for 86 quarter on the first. Let's see if I can get it. 80, got it, got the fill. So why did plus 3 Oh my God, I feel like it's so exciting today. Like you get 3 points and it's like you want to start clapping and stuff. That's a win for today though, man. Look, you see the tape we're dealing with, right? You get 3 points, celebrate it. Why not? Yeah, that's just it's taking what the market gives. Just take what the market gives. I feel 3 to 5 points on a day like today. That's a banger. Oh, coming right back in on me. It's coming right back in. All right, I'm gonna take a graceful exit on that spike, dude. I'm out. So this OCO is programmed that if I get the first target, it raises my stop. So it goes from, if I get first target at 3 points, and my second contract moves up so that I make something on the trade, right? So the trade I think will net. This is a scalp OCO strategy that I'm using, and this will net me 2 points on the trade. Sorry, I think this is the 2.1. I'm not sure. Maybe a point. Let me see. I'm 5 tick. No, it'll net me a 1.5. So I go plus 3 on the first. Then my second contract, the stop raises to 1.5 points from entry. So I'll net 1 point. I'll net a 1.5 on the trade if I get the first target. Let me know if that makes sense. You should have your OCOs always do the math. Take the time out to do the math behind your OCOs to make sure that when you use a strategy, like I have different strategies for different days, and this is my scalping strategy. This is one of the scalping strategies that I use, and so this one is a 3 and 5 point scalp strategy. 3 and 5. Yeah, so this should be up here. 3 and 5 point stat. 3 plus, it goes +3 on the first, and then +5 on the second, and then if I hit the first target, then the stop goes 1.5 points from entry. So I made 3 points on the first. So this way, if I get stopped out on the second, the trade still nets me a 1.5. All of my strategies, all of my OCOs are programmed and configured in a way that if I get to the first target, I'm going to see some return on the trade. I want to get paid something for my effort. And this is how you stay in those funded accounts. This is how you make sure you pass those evaluations. And this is more importantly, this is how when you're trading evaluations that have a trailing drawdown, this is going to help you avoid getting that trailing drawdown hit, which I think I hate trailing drawdowns. I can't stand them. I think that there are some firms out there that allow you to trade in the evaluation portion without a trailing drawdown, and then the moment you get into a funded account, they slap a trailing drawdown on you, which I think is so nefarious. I think you have a trader trade one way in the evaluation stage, and then ask them to trade a different way in the funded stage. Say that it's, and then they send out emails talking about process and stick to your traders with process. Well, how do you develop 2 different processes if you're asking me to trade on with 2 different objectives and in 2 different manners, right? And then they'll try in the same breath say that their business is not built around resets. Okay, fine. Well, if it's not, then prove it. Then prove it by allowing traders to trade one way in the evaluation and the same way in the funded account. All right, getting some volatility here, The stop did not get hit. Looking for 5 points on the second. Let me see, what time is it? It's 11 o'clock. Am I in my window? Because if I'm in my window, then I can look for the 12 o'clock high. I'm at 11:15 center time. I might move this to break even. I think it's still a little, let me see. This is a nice little balance area here. Let's look at it on the 15. Let me just extend this out just a tad bit, because I'm seeing some volume come in here. I'm seeing some interest, and those 82s, as much as they hit them, you know, we're back. We're still above yesterday's low. We're below value area low, but I'm gonna extend it up a little bit. I want to see if this was the pivot point, the 11 a.m. pivot point. I'm willing to risk it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the stop to break even if I get a little bit more space on it. Again, the trade is profitable as it is right now. I'm just trying to maximize the return on this particular trade. The trade is a winner as it stands right now without me doing anything. You know, and when a prop firm tells you, hey, trade this way in the evaluation stage, and then trade another way in the funded stage, that's not risk management. That's not teaching you risk management. That's, you know what I call that? I call that moving the goalpost. I think that's so bad. Imagine trading for months in a certain way, and you're passing evaluations, only to find out that when you get to the funded stage, now you have to completely change your mindset, completely change all your OCOs, completely change your size allotment. You know, consistency isn't just for traders. Consistency should be applied to the prop firm as well. But I'm going to stop ranting about it now. That's shady. That's just shady business. We don't do that at Pitbull Traders. You trade with a trailing drawdown in your evaluation stage, and you trade with a trailing drawdown in your funded stage. No difference. We're not moving the goalpost on you once you get funded. Might want to rethink that firm too. They seem to be really popular though, because they pay quickly. But what's the point of you paying quickly if you can't get to the payment? and just for the full disclaimer, like, I've done really well with that firm too. I've traded funded accounts, live accounts with them. Pretty boring day. We're not going to get, it doesn't look like to get the range expansion I was hoping for on this trade. Can you believe that it's now, we've been open for an hour and a half, and we're still inside that first, that initial balance happened when, my gosh, that initial balance happened within the first, within the first 23 minutes. Haven't gone anywhere for an hour. Scalp them if you got them. Scalp them if you can. Oh, look at this. I'm going to take, look at this. This is dumb. Why am I still sitting in this? What do you guys think about that? About prop firms that change the rules from evaluation to funded? how is like how is your strategy acceptable today, but then tomorrow it's a violation? To me it's mind boggling. How many people are fans of this one firm. Easy Money says, stupid, but I've only used Purdy and Pitbull traders. There is a name for that, but it's not PG-13. Right, Turbo fan, agree with you. And you're just moving the goalpost on you. I get so, I've gotten so frustrated. And so look, probably don't try this at home, but I got so angry at that when I first figured it out that I then traded I took it out on like I wanted to get my money back. Like I get super competitive about it. And I took them for 10. I took them for 10 grand. I got back into the funded account. I passed the funded stage. I think my cost basis for that 10 grand was somewhere, it was just under $1,000. So, and then I hammered them. And then so I traded the account up to 10 grand, and I said, give me the money, and I want to close the account. And then they stalled on me for 10 days. They would not pay me. It's wild. Yep, exactly. And then they moved my account. They said that the reason why they couldn't pay me was because they had to move me to a live account. So then they moved me to a live account, and then I was like, all right, so I want to take a distribution. And it was all types of circles I had to jump over. They literally were trying, they were doing they were like, but you can trade the account, Yeah, just go to Intraday and I was like, no, I just want a distribution. And I ultimately had to place a few trades, but it's just shady, man. I think that's so shady. And because you get the mindset, right? It's hard enough to trade well, to practice good habits, to overcome all the personal challenges, all the bad habit demons. Then you finally get there, and they change this one little rule, and that's a tough rule to overcome. Because here's the thing, right? Here's why that rule is so hard to overcome. Because so in the evaluation phase, where your drawdown limit is calculated at the end of the day. So say you go in, just using round numbers, right? So say you're trading a $50,000 account and you have a drawdown limit of $3,000 or $2,000, right? So you know that as long as you don't go hit that hard deck of $2,000, your account is good. Okay, fine. So then you hit the $3,000 goal, you pass it. Then when you get into the funded stage, say you're in a trade and now they've changed the end of day drawdown to a trailing drawdown. So you're in a trade, and the trade, say you're in a trade and we get a new spike, right? Say you're long and you get a new spike, and that's it's in your favor. But because of the nature of the move, it goes in your favor, $2,000, right? But you can't close it because it happened so quickly, and you only close it out for say $1,000. Now your trailing drawdown has gone up by $2,000. So if you're thinking, hey, I still have $2,000 worth of draw left, I can go below that. My hard deck is $2,000. It's not. It's moved up. So while you close it out for that $1,000, you really only have $1,000 left to go down against you. It's so bad. How often are we in positions that we don't have the orders set to capitalize? So you always have to be getting out kind of at peak value of the trade until you cover that drawdown. Because if you're a trader like myself, you guys see the way I trade, I like to stay in moves. I'll sit through a retracement. It's just my style. I would rather not trade more and hold on to a position longer. But if that position goes 10, 15 points in my favor and I only close it out for 5, I'm cooked. Reverie, Danny says, yep. Yep. Agreed. Yeah, that's no good. Yep, shady, but shady business. Reverie says, Danny, I've used your meditation playbook. You presented a week or two ago. I'm amazed at how beneficial it has been. Thanks for sharing that. You know, that's interesting. You pointed that out, Reverie, and I was going to share with Danny. I recently started spending about 5 minutes a day. So no, I'm not 5 minutes, but I'm the goal is 5 minutes, and I'm currently at like 2 minutes and 20 seconds. The goal is to be able to sit quietly for 5 minutes before I start my day. And then I say a quick prayer, and then I start, getting into like the trade plan for the day, analyzing the charts, looking over the data. But I find that it can be so peaceful. Yep, prayer, the part of the quiet space too. Exactly. Yep. I don't touch on that often, but yeah, it's important for me. Yash, okay. Manny, which prop firm are you talking about? Nish says, Manny, which prop firm are you talking about? I'm talking about Take Profit Trader. I won't. I'm not going to hide it. I don't think we are. Whatever. I'm just going to put it out there so that you don't get. I mean, if you know what you're getting into. So weird. Okay, good. Easy Money said had no issues taking out money out of pretty good to know. Yeah, I mean, listen, most of them are pretty solid. Most of them are pretty solid. And I, look, I've traded live accounts with all of the top ones, right? Like live accounts are when I've traded, a funded account, and then you trade the evaluation, then you trade the funded stage, and then you demonstrate consistency, and they put you into a live account. And I've traded live accounts with all the big ones, Top Step, all the big ones, and that one as well. And I just that's the one that gets me most under my skin, because it's just it's moving the goalpost. Turbo Fan says meditation is amazing, and I was not originally a believer. I got to the point where I could 20 minutes sitting still. 20 minutes is 20 minutes of focusing on your breath that's impressive. Yeah, for sure. For example, I was playing soccer, and he said that 20 minute. I got to the point where I could 20 minutes sitting still, and my focus increased 400%. Yes, so I think that's the biggest takeaway with meditation, is that like any other muscle, if you go and you lift weights, your muscles get stronger. But this is similar to that concept, in that what it does is it allows your focus to expand by not allowing your brain to drift off like a dog chasing a butterfly. But if any of you want more information on that, Vipassana, I've done 2 10-day courses on Vipassana. Yeah, I'm aware of Vipassana. If any of you are more interested in kind of that deep mindset work, I think it's excellent. I think it's really good. I think it adds a lot of value. And every Wednesday at noon, Danny and Lauren come on from 12 to 1 o'clock, and they touch on this, and they do an excellent job about, just giving us the tools to kind of deal with the mental hurdles that we deal with in trading. And I highly suggest you guys, check it out. It's well worth it. Grab your lunch and sit in on that session. That's what I do. I love to listen to what they have to offer. It's every Wednesday from 12. It starts at 12 o'clock, and they typically will run to about 1 o'clock or until questions run out. And ask questions. You know, if you're curious about it, I mean, that's really what helps helps other people and helps yourself as well. You know, if you have any questions, post them in there. I know I'll be listening in on Wednesday. I really enjoy listening to on Wednesday while I'm having lunch. But yeah, Turbo fan, 20 minutes is impressive. I think at my, when I was practicing every day for a long time, I think I was up into the I was in like 15 minutes, but I got like almost, I wouldn't say, so I got to a point where I needed it every day. I needed it. Like I needed it to, and I don't know how, but I moved away from it, and just listening to Danny and Lauren has brought it back into my orbit, and I understand the benefits of it, and I'm starting again. Like I said, I'm at like about 2.5, 3 minutes in the morning, just fine. I work my way up. Rangoon Mahashi. Man, it's been a barn burner today, huh? We got a whole 20-point range today. 20-point range. Brutal. Tough to do a live stream with 20-point range. But you know what? Like, wait until that volatility expands, right? When volatility expands, it's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be a lot more fun. Oh, what happened? Oh, okay. You know, and here's the thing, right? Volatility tends to play this weird thing, right? In that volatility expands and it contracts. Right now, I think we're going to go through a period of volatility contraction, right? Where volatility compresses. And I think we're probably going to see that this week into the, again, I'm just guessing, but based on my experience and the way I've seen these cycles play out before, I think I was kind of looking for that last week and it didn't happen. You know, that's fine. I think it might happen this week where we just see a compression of volatility. You typically see that after impulsive moves where volatility compresses. It's kind of like the distribution phase of the move. And you see volatility compress, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, it expands and you get these. So during the volatility compression, you get small daily candles. During the expansion, you get the big daily candles. And I'll be the first one to admit that. So I do, I'm a better long trader than a short. And I do really well when trends are underway because I don't overthink it. But when trends shift from selling rips to buying dips, or from buying dips to selling rips, that 1 or 2 days, I always have a tough time because it's that transition where I'm still buying that, or I'm still in that mindset, right? And that could be 1 day, 2 days, it could be more. But I tend to, those are the times where I tend to have drawdowns. And going into this next one, I'm working on trying to get a little bit better in that area, because it's always an area it's an area that I need improvement on. So I'm hoping to get it right this time, or at least get it a little bit less bad as last time. I always struggle at those transitions when volatility goes from when the trend changes. But we all have our times, right? Like, I think that's normal when you deal with an endeavor like trading, where everything is so dynamic. Really, no 2 days are alike, and you really have to be on your toes. I mean, we're really like, you have to almost be like a mental athlete to really come in every day, or maybe look at it that way: is come in every day and have the mental fortitude and the ability to execute your strategy, stay consistent, but also stay one with the market, achieve like that flow state. It's it's not easy. And I think that a lot of traders are really hard on themselves when they should be approaching it more um, from a development perspective. Okay, like what am I doing? Okay, what areas do I need improvement on? And what are the incremental steps? What does getting better look like for me? Right. So and then break it down one by one. I'm working with a trader right now. He's probably in the room listening, but he doesn't post very often. But and we're breaking it down step by step, just one thing at a time. Where we want it, where he needs to see improvement, and then we have that as part of our weekly goal, and then we have a monthly goal. And when you start off, it's a little bit difficult, right? But then when you start to see the outcomes of it, when you start to see that you take these incremental steps and that you're actually factually getting better, that's where the magic happens. That's really where you start to hone in on your confidence, your mindset calluses, and you start to believe in yourself and your ability to do this every day. And as a career, right? That's what we're trying to develop: career traders, consistently profitable career traders. All right, looks like we're going to put in another lower high. This is the cricket market. Falling asleep over here. I'm locking in 2 points on this trade now. So I'm locking in 2 points on the trade. I want to make sure that I lock in those 3 points from earlier, and so this will net me a 5-point trade. Okay. With the earlier one got 3 points, and then 3 on 2, and then 1 on the last. So I mean, putting a day together. And then if you're looking at it from a perspective of trading and evaluation, right? So that's 7 points. That's 10 points, and then I'm locking in 2 here, so that's 12 points times. Okay, so there, if you're trading an evaluation, if you're trading 2 contracts, you're already halfway to your target on a $50,000 evaluation. And I just remember I said last week that I was going to purchase a new $50,000 evaluation, and I was going to try to pass it in front of you guys. And I'm going to still do that. That is still the plan. However, I need to first. I need to feed the kids first. So I first need to make my goal for the week. And then as soon as I accomplish that, I'm going all in. We'll be trading that. Or so obviously today's not a good day for it because the market's just so stagnant. But maybe what I'll do is I'll trade that. I'll start jumping on at the back half of the day. Maybe come back on at 2:00, and that'll be just the time to trade that. But I'm just trying to make sure that I secure my own personal goals first. But I think that's going to be fun. And if I have to trade one, if I have a funded accounts that I can activate, so I don't need any personally, but I think it would be fun. I think we'd be excited to go through the process with everyone, and show you the ups and downs, and show, I think more importantly, I think it would be great to see like how it is to fail one and to get back into it. Just as important it is to pass one and get to the funded stage and then get to the payout stage, right? I also think that it's important to go through the failing part of it. All right, it looks like we're getting a little. Oh, got my fill there. So look, I got 94 for 75 from 85 from 89, so plus 13 points on that one. Plus 13 points. I think there's some news out. Heads up. Yes, I got that fill. Oh man, I closed it out way too early, team. Closed it out way too early. I had 90. I had 89, 75, and I had 94s offered. Sorry if it was. Wait, what was it? I was right here, 85. No, I had 83, 75. I had 94, 75 offered for 11. I got 11 points on it. European close. Watch these 7601s. Let me get back to the plan. What's the plan say? Okay. 7601. This is a level here. This is a level. So stay alert. It's already fading quite a bit, but we're a little bit early in the. Oh no, what happened here? Close this out. What the hell? That was a raw water, dude. Wait. Close that out. Oh my God. Anyhow. That's all. All right. 11:30 team, 11:30. Oh, I see what it is. It executed over here on this one. I got it. And I had the account up here on this one. All right. I see what happened. Yeah, nice rally. Let me just make sure that nothing else is on back here. Okay. I'm going to disable this too. Can't believe that thing put me short right there. Yeah, nice move off of that. We need to convert to 7,600. Check out the market blueprint. All right. Setup number 3. Remember when I drafted these early in the morning, we were trading above these. So these support buy, just if there is ever a support buy and we're below it, just view it as resistance. Apply, common technical analysis 101. If we're below the level, it's resistance until it converts. All right. Looks like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not fully sure. I'm switching this one out to micro though. Easy Money says Lebanese official told U.S. that Hezbollah ready for full ceasefire with Israel. Axios. I don't know what to believe anymore from these different news feeds. Honestly, I think the rise of independent journalism is Yeah, that's what I thought. Easy money. That's what I thought. They feel like one of those propaganda arms. Um, yeah, but it's news. Right, 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 right. And I think that the administration lets out a lot of stuff through them. So yeah, some of it could be. Yeah, right. Reverie says anything you've seen, anything from Barack Ravid is from Axios BS. That's what. Yep. I think I agree there. I think you know get some credible independent journalism is where it's at, or try ground news. Ground news is pretty cool. They'll at least tell you what the lean is. I like ground news because they'll tell you what political, if any, affiliation the article is leaning towards, and then you can kind of make your own objective, assertment of it. Also, you can also you can also gain your own objective assertment of what you're reading, but it also allows you to understand, if you can be objective, that you might be in your own kind of echo chamber, and then you understand the implications of that. Some people want to remain in their own echo chamber, and that's I guess that's one way to do it, one way to go about it. Bulls here on parade. Looks like the Bulls are taking it back here. Looks like they're going to take it back. Ground news is interesting. I think the future is to get your AI agents to filter news for you. Yeah, did a lot of work with AI agents this weekend. Created a bunch of AI agents. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's see where we're at on the thinkorswim chart. Yeah, look, we popped. We're gonna see. So this is what I was saying, team. Like the tendency is to see the other side of value area. So we reclaimed value area. We were outside of it for quite a bit, but then we reclaimed it. We're above the settlement now. Again, going into lunch, 7,600 to 7,605. I think is going to be the area uh, where bulls need to take it. So if we can get above that area and show some acceptance. Let's build this out. Something like this. Kind of what I was mentioning earlier. So now, if we can get, I expect we'll get this. I expect this move here will correct, right? So we got the breakout. Now, if we can come back here and test into these 75.90, maybe 75.95 area, we can get that pullback, hold it, and then maybe get a test. But then we're running right into 76.05. So stay with that scalp mentality. Stay scalping them if you scalp them from both sides. No worries, Rev. we enjoy the color. Appreciate it. Seriously. Thanks for keeping me company. Look at this, 76.0225. We're fading here. Let's see. I'm watching these like a hawk. Expect this move to correct soon. Okay, appreciate it, Rev. You can't trust any of it until U.S. ships leave the area or drops bombs. Hey, we're heads up right here. We're just prices starting to get a little bit squirrely up here. 7603 traded 5 contracts. See if the 7603s can be retested. All right, team. So that's going to call it for me for today. I'll be back later on this afternoon. I have an appointment to get to in about 10 minutes. So if you got anything out of this at all, please do me a favor. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Drop a comment. Let us know what you like, what you didn't like. And we'll be back at it again tomorrow with the early start. I had some technical glitches today, but got those all sorted out and the schedule is clear. I can't wait to join you guys early tomorrow. And we'll build it out again. We'll take some, hopefully the market will offer something better than what it did today. And we'll trade it accordingly. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate all the support. See you soon.